Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Amy here. A little bit different scene in the back. My husband built this lovely fire earlier and I could not resist. I didn't want to be in the other room. I wanted to be in here with the fire. So this is going to be where we're filming January's wrap up. A nice cozy little scene going on, so pour yourself your favorite beverage of choice, hot, cold, liquor, whatever it may be. Sit back and get comfy, and we're going to talk about all the books that I read in January. I also have somewhat of a dead cat right here. She loves the fire. Okay, try to get, oh, I had it perfect. Okay, all right. The first book I picked up in January was a male romance, of course, and this is The Hitman's Guide to Making Friends and Finding Love by Alice Winters. A couple of y'all have recommended this series to me, so I went ahead and I jumped in. I have not gone on to the second book, but I loved the first book. So we have Leland, who is a hitman, and then we have Jackson, who is a private investigator. He kind of works closely with the police. One night Jackson is on like an investigation, and Leland is watching him from wherever he's perched, because he's also on the verge of finding his guy. And he spots Jackson crawling over the fence, and he kind of starts taunting him because his like pants fall down or something when he's crawling over the fence. So Leland kind of starts tormenting Jackson throughout the first part of the book. It's really fun. I love Leland's just personality. He's just fun, funny. He's all over the place. You never know what he's going to come up with. But yet he's like the best hitman out there. Jackson is a little bit more laid back. When their relationship starts, he knows who Leland is, and he's kind of trying to hide it from the police. So Leland's basically hiding out at Jackson's, and their relationship sort of evolves from there. It's very fun. It's very cute. Love all the banter between the two of them. And then in the background, of course, we have like this action-packed mystery of finding like the same guy. They're pretty much on the same case, where Leland is ordered to like kill this guy. The police want to catch him. So you have that going on in the background. Lots of action, lots of funny stuff. It was very enjoyable to read. Highly recommend it. So thank y'all for recommending this book to me. Next we have The Haunting of Bryn. I read this during Winterween. I think everyone thought this was supposed to be more of a haunting story, but really it was a tragic love story. There was a little bit of a haunting. Sorry. Michael's in the kitchen cooking us a gumbo. So if you hear any noise in the background, besides the crackling of the fire, if you can even hear that, I don't know, he's in the kitchen making us gumbo. But anyway, it was, there was a little bit of a haunting vibe to the story. When you get to the end, if you read this, when you get to the end, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I know a lot of people were disappointed in this book and they were expecting more from this book, but in the end I ended up really enjoying it. Like, I really liked the story. I wasn't quite sure where we were going with it the entire time. It definitely wasn't like spooky or scary or anything like that. Like I said, there was like this haunting feel to it. But like I said, if you read it and you get to, or if you read it and you got to the end, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, in the end, it was just a beautiful, tragic love story, and I really enjoyed it. So Bryn, we follow Bryn, and she is just grieving over her mother. She recently lost her mother. So before returning to school, I think she's a professor. Before returning to school in the fall, she just wants to get away. So she goes on like this summer retreat to this, it's like an inn. And the inn is like in this old house, and the house is supposedly haunted. So that's where that haunting feel comes from. There are little tidbits throughout the book, but we get the story of Bryn's life pretty much as she grieves over the summer for her mother. She meets someone there. She makes friends with other people that are staying there at the inn, and they all bring a little bit to the story. I really enjoyed it, even though it turned out to not to really be like a scary story. I just really enjoyed it. And I did listen to this via Audible. It was narrated by Z Sands, I believe. Her voice is perfect. It was actually gave that haunting feel to the story. Next, I read Boyfriends for Now. This is by Imogen Markwell Tweed. Never read anything from this author. This popped up on Scrib like as like the deal of the day or whatever. So I went ahead and I listened to it. It was a short story. I think it was only like 3 hours long. It was a cute, fun Christmas kind of short story. It was a fake relationship turned into a real relationship kind of story as well. So if you like fake relationships, there's that. So we follow Ben, who is an intern at this company. We also follow Anthony, who is the CEO of this company, and they kind of run into each other a couple times. Ben is a bit of a klutz, so that's kind of how they get to know each other, because Ben just literally keeps running into Anthony, spilling coffee all over him. And Anthony finds him just intriguing. And one thing, it just kind of happens real fast, and Anthony ends up taking him home to his parents as his fake boyfriend, and vice versa. So it was just a cute Christmas short story. Nothing really exciting happened. It was okay. Then I tried to read Misery by Stephen King, and I think I decided that Stephen King is just not for me. I just couldn't get into the book. I have watched the movie, and I love the movie, but for some reason I just could not get into the book. I just wasn't interested in it. I don't know what it is. I hate that, because I wanted to really love this book, because I really do like the movie. Kathy Bates is phenomenal in this movie. But yeah, I guess it's just me and Stephen King just don't mesh together. I don't know how to explain it, but I did DNF this story. But I'm sure everybody out there knows what Misery is all about. We have an author who gets into an accident in the beginning of the story. Annie finds him. Annie Wilkes, our Kathy Bates character, she finds him and brings him home to nurse him back to health. But yet she ends up kind of keeping him secluded in her home as her prisoner, and makes him write her happy ending of her favorite series that he's written. But yeah, I got maybe, here it is. I got 88 pages in. That's where this bookmark was at. I never took it out. I got 88 pages in and I called it quits. So I'm kind of sad about it, but it is what it is. Next up is Kill Creek by Scott Thomas. I gave this one 3 stars. It was okay. We follow 4 different horror authors. They're all invited on Halloween night to go to this haunted house on Kill Creek, where they spend the night. But then after they leave the house, that's when things start happening to each of them. They almost sort of end up going crazy. The house is making them crazy. Each of these authors are, suffering from their own tragedies or just different things that are going on in their lives currently or have went on in their lives before. So the house is sort of playing on their weaknesses. I just thought this book was just a little bit too long, and once we got to the end, I just wasn't impressed on like the whole reason for it, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, it was okay. I got through it. I did listen to this via Audible, but I did think it was a little bit too long, and yeah, but it was okay. Next, I read Snowflakes by Ruth Ware. This was a short story. This was also for Winterween. I gave this 1 star. I don't even know what to tell y'all about this book. It did not leave a mark on me. I don't even really remember it to this day. We follow a young girl, Aaliyah. I'm gonna have to look on my Goodreads. Yeah, Leah and her siblings, they're rushed away one night by their father to like this secluded island where they like live off the land basically. And they're told by their father like the world is under attack, so they have to go to this. I don't even know, I don't even remember the whole point of this story, to tell y'all the truth. So there you go. I don't recommend it. I think my camera is having a hard time focusing on me. Next we have The Girl in the Mirror. Who is this by? Rose Carlisle. I actually borrowed this book from Debbie and since then have given it back to her, but I DNF'd it. I only got like maybe 50 pages in, and I wasn't into it. I don't even know what to tell y'all about it. I didn't do very well at the beginning of this month with my trying to read thrillers. I'm not real crazy about the whole someone making everyone else believe that they're someone else and they kind of like take over that person's life, and I don't know. I wasn't into it. But Debbie seemed to like it okay, but it wasn't for me. So I DNF'd it. Next up, I read Liars. This is book 2 in the Licking Thicket series by Lucy Lennox and May Archer. I love this series. Like I said, this was only book 2. I loved book 1. I can't wait for book 3. I think it comes out at the end of this month, at the end of February. I don't know, but I'm gonna be on top of it. But I loved going back to the Thicket. It was so much fun. Licking Thicket is like this little bitty hick town, I think in like Tennessee. I'm sure it's made up, but I haven't looked into it. But anyway, they have like the licking festival. It's hilarious. I love it. I don't really think you have to read these books in order. I think you can read them alone, but the characters are gonna show up in each of the books. So I just feel like to get a better feel of the book, you need to read the first one, but you really don't have to if you don't want to. But in this book, we follow Diesel and Parrish. Diesel is sort of a loner in Licking Thicket. He runs the salvage yard, and he raises chickens. He's like this burly guy with tattoos everywhere. He has just learned that his sister Beth left him her baby. She recently passed away. So he runs into Parrish at the courthouse, and Parrish is there. I don't necessarily remember about why Parrish is at the courthouse, but Parrish is the grandson of Beau, a character we meet in book 1. Beau is hilarious. He owns like these chains of barbecue stores. I forget the name of them, but anyway, Parrish manages, like, he's like manager over the stores, and they're putting one somewhere in the thicket. So Parrish is there to see it come up, and they meet at the courthouse when Diesel is there deciding custody of the baby. So this is where the fake relationship comes in at. I think we need more wood. On the outside, Diesel doesn't really look like the greatest option for Beth to be raised, or to raise Beth. So he sort of asks Parrish to be his fake fiance in order to help him get custody of Beth's baby. Very cute story. Fake fiance to real fiance kind of story. So if you like fake relationships, it's a really good one. Love these two characters together. They fit so well together. Love their story. Diesel is like this huge teddy bear. Parrish is like this nerdy kind of chaotic, anxiety driven person, but he's like the best character ever. I love these two characters. They just balance each other out. I loved this story. 5 stars. Then I picked up I Know Who You Are by Alice Feeney. I was surprisingly blown away by this story. I gave it 5 stars. I really loved every minute of it. So we get a timeline. We follow Amy. Amy is an actress in present day. When she comes home one day from the studio, she finds that her husband is missing. And we kind of go from there. So we start in like 1988, and we follow Amy up to like present day. Kind of goes back and forth a little bit with the 2 stories. And then a little later on in the book, we start following this anonymous person who is possibly maybe stalking Amy. There were just so many twists and turns in this book. I was just seriously surprised by how it turned out, and the ending completely shocked me. I did not see that coming. I kind of thought partially along the way that I knew what was happening, but no, I really did not. Not quite as blown away as Behind Her Eyes, but kind of close, kind of close to it, but not the same. That will never be topped. But anyway, this was a really good read. I did listen to this on audio. Excellent narration. Highly recommend it if you have not picked this one up yet. Then I read The Wife Upstairs. This was the January pick for Gabby's book club, the book Troop. This is by Rachel Hawkins. I think I gave it 3 stars. Even though I enjoyed the story and it kept me involved, I just didn't find it impressive, you know, throughout the book. I didn't like any of the characters. They were horrible people doing horrible things, but yet it's still like the writing and the way the story was going still made me want to keep reading it to find out what was happening. So we followed Jane. Jane is a dog walker in this high-class kind of neighborhood, and she runs into Eddie one day while she's walking the dogs, and they very quickly form a relationship. Eddie recently not necessarily lost his wife, but his wife disappeared like about a year ago with her and her best friend. So they immediately start up a relationship. It's very fast. So right away I'm like, okay, I know why Jane's starting this relationship, but there's got to be a reason why Eddie's starting up this relationship so quickly. So yeah, so like I said, horrible people doing horrible things. And then again, I just was not impressed with how everything evolved. I just found it very, I don't know, cliche, I guess, in the end. But anyway, I still like kept on reading it. I still like enjoyed the writing and the story. Just didn't like any of these characters and just wasn't that impressed by the ending. But it was still a good read. I did listen to that one on audio as well. The narration was okay. I don't know if maybe the narrator was doing the good service of making us not like the characters even more, but if that's the case, she did a great job. Otherwise, I didn't really care for her voice, but all in all, it was okay. Next I'm gonna talk about 2 books, some male romances. The first one is called Game Changer, and the second one is Heated Rivalry. This is in the gay sports romance book series, book 1 and 2. A lot of you have recommended Heated Rivalry to me, but I wanted to start with the first book just to see if I really like this series and if I really wanted to like continue going on with the series. I am going to continue on with it. I'm bummed that the series is not available on Kindle Unlimited. I did have to buy Heated Rivalry, but so many of y'all were like, you must read this book. So I went ahead and I bought it, $5, you know, whatever. So good. So Game Changer is the first book. I really enjoyed that one as well. And this all has to do with hockey. So in the first one, we follow Scott Hunter, who is a NHL star, in the closet, has been for a really long time. He doesn't really have much of a family. I think he lost his mom years back, and hockey is his life, so he doesn't want his sexuality to get in the way of that. And then we have Kip Grady. Kip is a very smart, but hasn't quite found, you know, his way yet. So he's working at Straw and Berry, the smoothie place. It's a smoothie place, and Scott walks in one morning to get a smoothie and sees Kip, and the rest is history. No, not really. He really kind of falls for Kip. He keeps going back for smoothies because he thought Kip was really cute. And they end up sort of having like this secret relationship. And so you can only imagine that's not going to go well for Kip, because Kip is out, he's proud, but yet he really was into Scott, so he agreed to this relationship. But the more it went on and the more he had to stay behind the lines, he wasn't, you know, he wasn't liking it. So of course we got that little bit of drama there, but I loved these 2 characters. I loved their relationship. I felt for them. I really enjoyed it. And then Heated Rivalry, oh my goodness, that was the best enemies to lovers story ever so far, anyway. But y'all told me it was good, and y'all were right. It was fantastic. I loved the rivalry between these 2 characters. They like hated each other but couldn't stay away from each other. So we follow Shane Hollander and Ilya Rozanov. He's Russian. Loved his character, like hated him but loved him. Loved Shane to pieces. Shane is just like this your typical like boy next door kind of guy. You know, everyone loves him. He's a star on the ice. And him and Ilya were kind of brought together as arch enemies, like from the very beginning, like since they started in hockey. So over the years, they've kind of just had like this secret hookup, but it's like a I hate you kind of thing, but yet I can't get enough of you. I loved it. I was kind of sad at the way it ended. I still gave it 5 stars because I love the heated rivalry between the 2 of them, and just them 2 together were just like smoking hot. I was kind of disappointed in the ending, to be honest. I wanted it to be a little bit more than what it was, but besides that, I loved it. I'm hoping maybe in the next couple books we'll get a little bit more of these 2 characters. We kind of saw a little bit of Scott in the second book. Well, this book kind of time-lapse kind of thing. We kind of went back in time following these 2 characters through their hockey careers, and Scott makes his appearance somewhere in there. But yeah, I'm hoping to get more from these two characters the further we go into the series. So I'm definitely going to continue. Then I decided to pick up Truly Madly Guilty by Liane Moriarty. Very thick book. It was quite long. I did find it possibly a little bit too long, but I still enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars. That's what I love about Liane Moriarty. Her characters are so distinct. Like, she just makes these characters just come to life on the page. And I did listen to this on audio. The narration is fantastic. I loved all these characters individually. We kind of follow all of them. They're couples. We follow Clementine and Sam. They're a married couple with 2 kids. Clementine and Erica are best friends. We follow Erica and Oliver. Erica and Clementine sort of grew up together. Erica didn't have like the best childhood, I guess, so she kind of clung to Clementine. And then we follow Sid and Vid and Tiffany. Vid is hilarious. I loved Vid. Vid is, I believe, like an older gentleman who married a younger wife, Tiffany. But I loved all these couples together. I loved them individually. They all come together for this barbecue, and then something happens the day of this barbecue. And we're getting timelines. We're kind of going, we're reading current day, and then we'll go back to the day of the barbecue, leading up to like what happened, what it all meant, how it changed their lives afterwards. So it was a lot to take in, but Liane doesn't let us down in the end. I didn't see what really happened coming. I mean, you get what happened, but in the end you learn what truly happened. Who did it, kind of thing. But it was fun. It's just sort of a life story of these characters and how their life changed on this day of the barbecue. It was fun. I enjoyed it. And lastly, I listened to When Harry Met Harry. Who is this by? This is by Sydney Smith. It had at least 2 of my favorite male romance narrators, Teddy Hamilton and Malcolm Young. Love these guys' voices. This was an Audible original. It's available if you're an Audible member. It's available in your subscription. You don't have to use a credit to listen to this. So just throwing that out there in case you want to go listen to it. It was really cute. What did I give it? I gave it 4 stars. So basically we have Henry, like their nicknames are both Harry. We have Henry and we have Harrison. They meet on a flight, an airplane flight. And then like a year or so later they meet again. Henry sort of works for his dad and in like this construction company. So and then Harrison is basically a school teacher where he teaches drama to young kids. So we kind of get their relationship. It's just a story of how they started off as friends and became lovers. So a friends to lovers kind of story. And that's basically it. There's no sexy times in here. It's just a basic, good, fun, cute story of 2 guys that find each other and years later become friends, and that friendship develops into more. Of course, there's other relationships along the way. It was just a really cute story. I enjoyed it. If you're wanting to like just get into the male romance genre, I highly recommend starting off with this one. It was really cute, really fun. All right, I don't have all the books here because a lot of them were on my Amazon Fire, but that is it for the month of January. It started off kind of slow, but it ended up to be pretty good, and I'm off to a okay start for February. You'll hear more about that in my February wrap-up. But yeah, thank y'all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed this new little kind of scenery we had going on in today's video. I think it might have been a little, I might have been a little fuzzy in the beginning of this video. But my focus was off for some reason, but I think it ended up to be okay, I hope. Anyway, I hope y'all are all doing well out there, staying safe, staying warm. We'll get back into my favorites. I just wanted to film tonight just because I was feeling the whole vibe, so I thought I'd film my January wrap up. But back into favorites on my next video, so I will see y'all very, very soon in that video. Bye, y'all.